Hi, good and blessed day. Here's a clear breakdown of Genesis chapter 6. Its summary, significance, and application both in the Old Testament context and for Christian life today. Summary of Genesis chapter 6. 1. Corruption of humanity, people multiplied on earth. And the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful and took them as wives. Interpretations vary. Some say these were fallen angels. Others that they were descendants of Seth, intermarrying with the line of Cain. Humanity became deeply corrupt, filled with wickedness and violence. 2. God's judgment announced. God declares his spirit will not contend with humans forever, limiting human lifespan to 120 years. God is grieved that he created mankind because of their great wickedness. 3. Noah's favor with God amid corruption. Noah stands out as righteous and blameless. Walking faithfully with God, God decides to destroy the earth with a great flood. But he commands Noah to build an ark to preserve himself, his family, and pairs of animals. God establishes a covenant with Noah, giving detailed instructions for the ark's construction. Significance in the Old Testament ancient Jewish context. 1. The seriousness of sin. Humanity's corruption shows how unchecked sin spreads across society. 2. God's justice. God's grief over sin leads to judgment, showing his holiness and intolerance of evil. 3. The covenant with Noah marks a new stage in God's dealings with humanity, setting the foundation for future covenants. For Noah, as a model, Noah's obedience and faith set him apart as a righteous example in an evil generation. 5. Divine patience. God gave humanity time 120 years before judgment, showing his mercy before executing justice. Significance to Christian life today. 1. God sees the heart. In a world filled with sin, God still looks for those who live faithfully like Noah. Christians are called to be blameless and upright. Philippians 2:15. 2. Judgment and salvation. The flood foreshadows final judgment, but the ark represents Christ as the way of salvation. 1 Peter 3:20-21. 3. Walking with God. Noah, as daily walk of faith, is an example for believers to maintain fellowship with God. Despite living in a corrupt world, for obedience brings life. Noah's obedience saved his family. Likewise, faithful obedience today protects and blesses future generations. 5. God's covenant grace. The covenant reminds Christians that God's promises are sure, ultimately fulfilled in the new covenant through Jesus Christ. Application for today. 1. Personal life. Guard your heart against the corruption of the world. Like Noah, live a life of faith and obedience, even when it's unpopular. 2. Family life. Just as Noah led his family into the ark, Christians today are called to lead their households in faith, prayer, and righteousness. 3. Community life. Be a witness of righteousness in a world that often mocks or ignores God. 4. Spiritual life. Remember that Christ is our ark of salvation. Flee to him for safety from judgment and live in his covenant grace. 5. Hope for the future. Trust that God will deliver his people from ultimate judgment, just as he preserved Noah through the flood.
In short, Genesis 6 teaches that sin grieves God and brings judgment, but those who walk with him in faith and obedience like Noah find grace.
In short, Genesis 6 teaches that sin grieves God and brings judgment, but those who walk with him in faith and obedience like Noah find grace. For Christians today, the chapter calls us to live righteously, cling to Christ as our ark of salvation, and be faithful witnesses in a corrupt world.
If you find this video very helpful and significant to your life, type amen, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.
If you find this video very helpful and significant to your life, type amen, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.